A pleasant good evening from the news center here at Freedom Communications Incorporated in Monrovia. What a warm way to welcome you to this weekend presentation of Freedom News Basket. 45 minutes of the latest happenings making news in Liberia and elsewhere. Today is Friday, November 26, 2021. And I'm Jeff Jefferson anchoring this edition of the news program. In the top developments following tonight, Foreign Minister Maxwell Kemia receives an audience separate letters of credence from ambassadors, extraordinary and plenipotentiary designate from India, Germany, and Ireland. Hundreds of Liberian legal practitioners expected this Saturday to elect new corps of officers to steer the affairs of the Liberia National Bar Association for 3 years. Calm returns to Lofa County following a day of protest by country devils and traditional max dancers and some citizens over the delay in certificating and battered Lofa County Senator-elect Brandon Samukar. Elsewhere, the United Nations has alarmed over a reported attack on the Libyan court where Saif al-Islam Gaddafi's lawyer was trying to lodge an appeal against his ban from next month's presidential election, according to the BBC. The details of these developments, the voices of the newsmakers, the news bulletins, sports, and foreign developments are packaged in this edition of Freedom News Basket. You can also follow us live on Freedom TV Liberia and www.freedomradioliberia.com. All of these developments are coming up after this break. Thanks for rejoining us. Let's now cross over to the news center where Willie Tupper is seated to set the pace with the bulletin. A pleasant good evening, Willie.
Good evening, Jeff, and good evening, Liberia. We'll begin with this development where crime has returned to Lofa County following reports of the blocking of the border connecting Bon and Lofa counties. It can be recalled Thursday, country devils and traditional max dancers and several citizens of Lofa protested in demand of the certification of a back to Lofa County Senator-elect Brandon Samukar. The Lofa County Senator-elect is yet to be certificated by the National Elections Commission after he was indicted by the Supreme Court of Liberia for misappropriation of funds belonging to the armed forces of Liberia. Despite Samukar claimed that he has almost paid 50% of his liability, he is yet to be certificated. The former defense minister was indicted along with two of his deputies for criminal conspiracy and misappropriation of funds intended for the welfare of AFL soldiers. Foreign Minister Maxwell Kemia has received in audience separately the ambassador extraordinary and plenipotentiary designate for India, Germany, and Ireland. The three ambassadors extraordinaries designate for India, Germany, and Ireland on Thursday presented their letters of credence to President George Weah through the Minister Kemia. Receiving their letters of credence, Foreign Minister Kemia showed Ambassador Pradit Kumar Yade of India, Jacob Hasenberg of Germany, and Clara Buckley of Ireland of Liberia's cooperation and support while on duty in the country. Speaking during the meeting, India Ambassador Yadav said India and Liberia enjoy excellent long-standing bilateral relations based on genuine friendship and mutual understanding. For his part, German Ambassador Extraordinary Destiny to Liberia Ambassador Jacob Hasenberg welcomed Liberia's gender-responsive budgeting policy, as well as the commitment to national gender policy. Also speaking, Ambassador Clarat Buckley said Ireland is keen on establishing longer bilateral ties with Liberia and is preparing a 5-year strategic plan to support the government. According to Ambassador Buckley, the strategic plan will focus on inclusive democratic process, which involves elections, good governance, women empowerment, health, nutrition, prevention and response to gender and sexual-based violence. Ambassador Buckley also stated that she will ensure that Liberian students travel to Ireland for studies at postgraduate educational level to contribute to the rebuilding process of the country. Hundreds of Liberian legal practitioners will this Saturday elect new corps of officers to steer the affairs of the Liberian National Bar Association for 3 years. The judges and magistrates are attending the LNBA's convention in Gantanima County following the suspension of all court activities by Chief Justice Francis Kakpo. Justice Kakpo's November 22 suspension of court proceeding will take effect as proceeding took effect since Thursday, November 25, and will end this Saturday, November 27. Those contesting for the LNBA presidency include Councillor Sylvester Renin, Jala Babu, Alhaji Swahilu Sise, and Ibrahim Sila. Councillor Bobby Livingston and Jamal Detro are contesting for the vice presidency. Councillor Jura Lynch, Bernard Vama Lutot Yofi, and Anthony Lamine Bagwe are vying for the Secretary General post. The only two female Councillor Richard Yaba Duba and Anthony Maminta Jabatet Salif are contesting for the Treasurer seat. The International Monetary Fund Executive Board has approved $23.64 million for Liberia under the fund's extended credit facility. The completion of the third review on the extended credit facility enables an immediate disbursement of the funds. The IMF also projected the economic growth in Liberia has rebounded sharply this year and will continue in 2022, following contradictions last year due to the pandemic. Liberia's share of the IMF's allocation of special drawing rights to its membership in August 2021 will be used to strengthen Liberia's international reserve position and to help finance its vocational program and public investment projects. The 4-year ECF, that's the extended credit facility arrangement, with a total assets of specific as a special drawing rights 155 million, equivalent to 60% of quota, or about US 214.30 million, was approved by the IMF Executive Board on December 11, 2019. Completion of the third review enables the immediate disbursement of the SDR, that's a special drawing rights, 17 million, equivalent to US 23.64 million, bringing total disbursement under the arrangement to the special drawing rights 68 million, equivalent to US 96.8 million. On August 23, 2021, Liberia received the special drawing rights 247.7 million, equivalent to US dollars 345.3 million, in the context of the general special drawing rights allocation to the IMF membership. The 54th National Legislature has begun hearing the 2022 draft national budget, which was submitted by the executive through the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. The joint legislative budget hearing on the revenue components of the fiscal year budget being conducted by members of the House of Representatives and the Liberian Senate began Thursday, November 25. Authorities and the Liberia Telecommunication Authority appear on day one of the budget hearing. Making his opening remarks, the House's Committee Chair, Ways, Means and Finance and Development, Representative Thomas Fowler, said the budget was submitted to the National Legislature recently and it is expected that the ACOS body will review the policies and provisions submitted for subsequent approval. Representative Farah added that by extension and amendment is expected to be made into the proposed financial instrument that will govern Liberia's expenditure for the next calendar year beginning January to December 2022. Speaking on behalf of the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning at the hearing, Deputy Finance Minister for Fiscal Affairs Samoa Worukodi said the national resource envelope is 785,587,300 at $1 and 25 cents. According to him, 13% of the amount is domestic currency, amounting to $21 billion. That's Liberian dollars, and 87% is actual United States dollars, amounting to US 681.9 million. The Ministry of Health, in partnership with the World Health Organization, has ended a day-long cervical and breast screening training for health workers in the country. The training was held Friday at Cape Hotel in Monrovia under the theme Early Detection and Promoted Management of Cervical and Breast Cancer Saves Life. Speaking at the program, the Director of Non-Communicable Disease Program at the Ministry of Health, Anthony Tucker, described the training as a significant step in the health sector. According to Tucker's, training has been ongoing in the health sector by individuals, but not as the Ministry of Health regular program geared at fighting cervical and breast cancer. The Ministry of Health Non-Communicable Disease Director also expressed delight over the program on grounds that it is being handled by Liberians who will serve as trainers. For his part, World Health Organization Advisor for Disease Prevention and Control, Moses Jerolon, said the WHO is fully prepared to extend the training to other parts of Liberia. According to Jerolon, by 2030, Liberia should have a universal coverage of the process, leaving no one behind. The Executive Director of Charles Institute of Vocational and Professional Studies, Samuel Bobo, says vocational studies is the surest way for young people to contribute to growth and development of Liberia. Speaking at the launch of the institution Friday, Bobo said there is huge growth in the number of young people across the country. As such, building their capacities through vocational education is essential. The Charles Institute of Vocational and Professional Studies, which was launched in partnership with the St. Matthew United Methodist High School in Logan Town, brought together educational stakeholders and students from diverse sectors. Bobo noted that vocational education is key to job creation for many young people, especially those graduating from high schools. He said the Charles Institute of Vocational and Professional Studies, as a vocational institution, will be conducting a 9-month training in plumbing, pastry, cosmetology, electricity, driving, among others. Meanwhile, Samuel Bobo has disclosed that his institution is registered and will continue to provide vocational education for the youthful population of the country. And Youth Action International Friday donated several assorted medical drugs to several clinics and hospitals in Painesville. Speaking at the donation ceremony, the Executive Director of Youth Action International, Dr. Kimmy Wick, said the donation is part of his organization's contribution to make sure the health system in the country is more vibrant. According to Dr. Weeks, the initiative is the beginning of several donations that Youth Action International is Youth Action International is undertaking aimed at supporting hospitals and clinics in need of drugs to save lives. He also expressed delight over the gesture, adding that he is optimistic that more health facilities across the country will benefit from the second phase of the initiative. While receiving the items, the health workers from various health facilities in separate remarks lauded Dr. Weeks and the Youth Action International for the gesture, adding that the items medicines will be used for the intended purpose. Well, that's it from my end. It's back to you, Jeff, for the continuation.
Many thanks to Willie Tukpa for reading us the news bulletin. It is a regular feature on Freedom News Basket. Willie will return later with the foreign developments. In one of the top stories we're following tonight, Foreign Minister Mazwi Kemia receives an audience separate letters of credence from ambassadors, extraordinary and plenipotentiary designate from India, Germany, and Ireland. Let's now bring you the voices of those making the news. Foreign Minister Mazwi Kemia has received an audience separately the ambassadors, extraordinary and plenipotentiary designate from India, Germany, and Ireland. The three ambassadors, extraordinary and plenipotentiary designates from India, Germany, and Ireland on Thursday presented their letters of credence to President George Weah through Minister Kemia. Receiving their letters of credence, Foreign Minister Mazwi Kemia issued ambassadors Pradeep Kumar Yadav of India, Jacob Hasselbeer of Germany, and Clara Buckley of Ireland of the Liberian government's cooperation and support while on duty in the country.
We wouldn't be able to get to where we want to get in the absence of capacity building mental development. So that is key. And beyond even people going, when we visited there, we on the strategy with respect to Africa was being talked of, even launched by the president. We talk and which will be good to look at exploring possibilities for partnership between the University of Liberia and other universities in Ireland, so that through such relationship, through such partnership, there can even be faculty exchange, in whatever way they can be able to do that. It won't be something very, very useful as it relates to women. She was at the closing program of a Memorial Union conference. We don't, it's not a favor for society and the world at large, and of us as men, to work towards making sure that women have their seat at the table and beyond being at the table, having equal opportunity, for women. We see that as obligatory, and we think doing that will be in the direction of a wholesome society. Our president, His Excellency President Weah, is our feminist in chief. He remains relentless, as well as his government, as it relates to our focus on the empowerment of women, gender equity, dealing with women issues. We think it's good because when we look at our country and see what women can do here in the ministry, I said yesterday, a day before during the closing, the women that we have in here working and supporting me in the work I do are extraordinary. And I would have had challenge. They were not here. So we see what women can do, talent, skills, and so we need to do. And the girls, bringing them up, giving them opportunities to the point that even in political participation, and they will be able to go for it and take up positions, whether at elected level or even outside. But this president remains committed, and when you take the statistics, of the women appointed in government, from even deputy, assistant minister, director, we have, an impressive, and that is still not enough in itself. The need should always be, the urge should always be to do more.
His Foreign Minister Max Kemi, also speaking, Ambassador Clara Buckley, said Ireland is keen on establishing stronger bilateral ties with Liberia and is preparing a 5-year strategic plan to support the Liberian government. According to Ambassador Buckley, the strategic plan will focus on inclusive democratic process which involves elections, good governance, women empowerment, health, nutrition, prevention and response to gender and sexual based violence.
I very much share that ambition and would share very much the views that you have expressed and summarised our relationship so well. I mean, our Ireland and Liberia's relationship, it goes way back, to when the Irish missionaries first came here. And then, of course, as you mentioned, we had our peacekeepers here, and that's a tradition of which we're very proud. I think it's wonderful now that we see Irish and Liberian peacekeepers serving together in other missions. I think that's a real testament to the journey that we've both been on. And as you know, I'm not resident here, but as you say, of course, we have had a full embassy here. So not just a development office, but a full embassy to represent the whole scope of our relationship since 2018. And as you say, very ably represented here by our wonderful Chargé d'Affaires, Kate O'Donnell, and by the Second Secretary, Simon McCormack. And I know for them, our focus at the moment, we've this 5-year strategy, and I'll leave a copy for you. We're at the midway point of that strategy, and what's very much at the heart of that strategy is focusing on the empowerment of women and girls. And so there are 2 key areas of focus, which are governance and then the improvement of the situation of women in relation to health, in relation to nutrition and gender-based violence. And so it's fitting also that we meet, on the first day of the 16 days of activism. I'm sure you'll have seen the statement that we were part of on that. So I think that's very fitting. And I mean, you've mentioned Ambassador Byrne Nason, who sends you her very best wishes. And she's such a champion for women's rights, and she's using that seat on the Security Council to speak up. And I know that over the course of the strategy, the remaining years, and as Liberia moves towards elections, I know one of the things that we're really passionate about in the governance field is seeing more women being appointed to the local council positions, and to really see that governance coming, from the grassroots up. So, as you say, I have every confidence that our relationship is going to grow, and go from strength to strength. We've got a really good basis, and I have every confidence that with the wonderful team here and with me coming as often as possible, and also high-level visits, Minister. I very much would love to see an Irish minister coming to Liberia. Very much we'd love to welcome you back home as well. So that's something I really want to see, as hopefully this COVID world eases up a little bit and allows that kind of people-to-people contact that is so important. And we've our Ireland Fellows as well, where Liberian students can go and study at postgraduate level for a year in Ireland. And again, those people-to-people links are so important to us.
She's the ambassador extraordinary and plenipotentiary destined to Liberia from Ireland, Clara Buckley speaking, when she and 2 others, ambassadors extraordinary and plenipotentiary, presented their letters of credence to Foreign Minister Max Kemi Thursday at his Foreign Ministry office in Monrovia. Ministry of Health, in partnership with the World Health Organization, has ended a day-long cervical and breast screening training for health workers in the country. The training was held Friday at Cape Hotel in Monrovia under the theme Early Detection and Promoted Management of Cervical and Breast Cancer Saves Life. Speaking at the program, the director of Non-Communicable Disease Program at the Ministry of Health, Anthony Turco, describes the training as a significant step in the health sector.
This is a very significant step that we are taking in the health system. I know that screening has been going on sometimes in the field. Some people have taken on their own initiative to do it, but it has never been a part of our routine public health system where we say, you have this facility, you have this particular time, you go there, and someone will get screened for cervical cancer, someone will get screened for breast cancer, someone will get health educated on these particular conditions. Now we are turning a new page in healthcare provision in Liberia, especially for cancer, and with emphasis on cervical cancer. And people may ask, why cervical cancer? Why breast cancer? Because of the cases of cancer that we're having in Liberia, over 75% will be due to these two. So if at all we can intervene in these two areas, we definitely are intervening in cancer to a significant extent. Not that we are leaving the other cancers out, we are working to see how we can get them on board and see how we can be able to provide better diagnosis and treatment for them. But all of these require support. I also want to use this time to thank the team, especially those who helped develop the modules, and those of you who are here today as participants who are being trained. And what I love about this is I see a Liberian core. It's not a team from abroad that have come and will be leaving. I want to thank you, Dr. Daly, for working with this team and continuing to work with them so that at the end of the day, we can establish our own screening points at two different health facilities. And it's like when you're building a house and you build it on a strong foundation, that house will last. And that's why I see that has happened with this particular training, because we would have done something, crash, and then just start something, but it didn't start that way. It started first by recognizing facilities that we want to intervene in, getting key staff from those facilities to be involved in the process, asking WHO for their support. I think they have even provided more in support than we anticipated. And they came and they sat down and worked with our team to produce a module that tomorrow we will use and train other health facilities. So the groundwork has been laid for us to move to other facilities. And with the team we have been trained as pioneers, tomorrow probably when we are going to other facilities to establish, we may call one or two of you to say, go there and start working with them until they are confident enough to work on their own. We'll call on Dr. Masawe, Dr. Harris, and others, go there and conduct.
For his part, World Health Organization Advisor for Disease Prevention and Control, Moses Girolon, said the WHO is fully prepared to extend the training to other parts of Liberia. According to Girolon, by 2030, Liberia should have a universal coverage of the process, leaving no one behind.
That though we are starting with few of you and few hospitals, we are prepared to expand those, because you may be aware of the Sustainable Development Goals. And goal number 3 is on health. And within there, I'm saying that come 2030, we should have universal health coverage, leaving no one behind. Cancers, and we put emphasis on cervical cancer and breast cancer because they are preventable, they are curable when they are detected early. We are starting with that, but we are going to cover all cancers. Because we don't want to leave any disease behind, we are not going to leave anyone behind. You are aware that the data on cancer in this country is not accurate. We don't have all the information. But the little that we know is that cancer, cervical cancer, breast cancer are silent epidemics in this country. They are silent epidemics because, like I said earlier, the accurate data, we don't have accurate data, we don't have complete data. But as I'm speaking now, a lady is dying from either cervical cancer or breast cancer as I'm speaking now. And these are preventable. And for breast cancer, the lady herself can be trained to check her breast regularly so that when she suspects a lump in there, she will call the attention of her workers. And you have workers too. This is time now that the physical examination we do from head to toe include checking for cancers. Because when they are detected early, the management can be more successful, it can be cost effective, and we can save lives and improve the quality of life of our people. So this is a challenge to you that what we are starting here is the beginning of a bigger work that is ahead of us. And what I can guarantee you is that WHO is here to support the Ministry of Health, the non-communicable vision of the Ministry of Health, non-communicable disease and injuries coming out of the Ministry of Health, headed by Dr. Tosa. We continue to support the ministry, to support the health system in this country so that we have adequate care.
His World Health Organization Advisor for Disease Prevention and Control, Moses Girolon. Earlier, you listened to the Director of Non-Communicable Disease Program at the Ministry of Health, Antonin Tucker. They both spoke on Monday, this Friday in Monrovia, during a training under the theme Early Detection and Promoted Management of Cervical and Breast Cancer Saves Life. At this juncture, with a minute past the half hour mark in the news, it is about time we cross over to our sports decks and let's join Jared Morris to bring us the passion. Good evening, Jared.
Good evening, Jeff. Good evening, Labria. Welcome to the Passion. Nation One Academy of Montserrat County has been crowned champions of the Orange Under 15 tournament held at the Antoinette Tottenham Stadium in Central Monrovia. Nation One defeated Ansu Football Academy on penalties shootout 4-3 after the game ended 1-1 at peace. Nation One Under 15 will represent Liberia at the Orange Under 15 tournament in Cameroon. And away from home, FIFA President Gianni Infantino said opponents of plans to hold the World Cup every 2 years were afraid of change as countries in Africa voiced support for the proposal. European Confederation, UEFA, and South American counterpart CONMEBOL do not want to move away from the current 4 year cycle, while England's Premier League is among several domestic leagues to have voiced opposition. On Friday, the Confederation of African Football (CAF) became the first global confederation to formally back FIFA's proposal, saying it will fully approve a biannual World Cup if that decision was taken later this year. And that's it for the sports.
Jared Morris in the passion, a regular feature on Freedom News Basket. We continue with more developments. Youth Action International Friday donated several assorted medical drugs to several clinics and hospitals in Pingsville. Speaking at the donation ceremony, the executive director of Youth Action International, Dr. Kimmy Weeks, said the donation is part of his organization contribution to make sure the health system in the country is more vibrant. According to Dr. Weeks, the initiative is the beginning of several donations that Youth Action International is undertaking aimed at supporting hospitals and clinics in need of drugs to save lives.
Today, we're specifically here to turn over the consignment of drugs to 3 health facilities, and we're very happy to have them here. They will each speak on behalf of their institutions. This is the beginning of this process. Hope that going forward, this would be an annual program, or actually several times a year, when we'll be airlifting drugs into Liberia. Each of these first 3 clinics and hospitals will be our partners going forward, where we will continue to supply them drugs as needed for the treatment of their patients. So we've started with a small consignment. A lot of the drugs we brought in related to COVID-19, as was prescribed, or drugs that are being used for the management of patients who have tested positive for COVID-19, but there are medications that can be used for other purposes as well: antibiotics, multivitamins, ibuprofen. And so we're very happy to make these donations to the 3 hospitals, clinics, and look forward to being able to do this for more health facilities, not just in Montserrat, but across the country. I want to take a moment to thank the Ministry of Health that was very influential and very helpful in helping getting this consignment to Liberia. They were able to provide the duty-free privileges that we needed to clear the shipment. The folks at the Ministry of Health were very professional and very timely. So I want to thank the Ministry of Health, and by extension the government of Liberia, for the support they provided in helping us get these shipments into Liberia, and we look forward to working with them on future shipments. We're also very thankful for our donor partners who have made this possible, especially our partners at Make It Green, who were able to arrange for the drugs to be donated. We'll be working with Make It Green for future shipments.
Meanwhile, receiving the items, the health workers from the various health facilities in separate remarks lauded Dr. Weeks and the Youth Action International for the gesture, adding that the items or the medicines will be used for the intended purpose.
Thank you, Director Kevin Weeks and the Youth International family. We are happy for such a program and initiative that you called on us. Actually, when I got the information yesterday and this morning, also I came and organized quickly so we can come here. But from your explanation, it showed me that you have hearts for the Liberian people and Africa at large. So we say thank you, appreciate what you are doing for this country. I see the health worker in this type of crisis. Many a times people don't see us to be like people that are important in the society. They downplay everything on the health side. But what you are giving us today, it may be little to you, but it is great to us. We're going to use it for the intended purpose, especially for our baby mothers and our children who are in dying. We say thank you for that.
We want to be very brief. I'm Linda M. Famula, the administrator of the Dubo Health Center. I want to say thank you. It is very welcoming for you to recognize even your community first. And this is one thing that each and every one of us should be reminded of. It is true that you will help further, but it is always good to help your own people that are surrounding you, because when you know their needs and you attend to them, they now will even, make others to know how important it is for such a humanitarian and philanthropists like you to be in the list. And tomorrow is no exception. We have a catchment population of 47,706. And the entire Commonwealth District, we got about 64,000. And right now, as you can see, the economic situation, the health sector is even faced with. It has brought many of our children coming to Dubo, and you see that they have even overwhelmed us because they come there because this is a government facility that was giving free services. So as a result, whenever even the government sends medication, it does not last because the people are more than the drugs. We are so much, gratified and thank you for what you have done.
My name is Jake Albert, part of the Africa Food Movement Full Clinic. Ambassador Weeks, the Department of Youth Action International, we are honored. We're very grateful for his venture. And I just want to add to others who already spoken to say thank you for being farsighted. The approach that you're using and participating according to the Ministry of Health, most of our people access facilities through our communities and systems and that. But they have pushed towards us that most of the people come at the very frustrated, and to see you and your institution coming and saying, hey, let us really make that to see us, we see and be there, the honor. And like our colleagues here from the clinic there, their patients looking, and that's what I told her, and that's what I did. I work with this office at the ambassador. We have this program that we run literally free, and it's because that we all need from our respective honors to help out. Because I think I recall we had the experience where the mother had the child inside just because she gave the food, and when she gave the child
The heads of several hospitals and clinics who benefited from the donation of assorted medical items, drugs from the Youth Action International. Earlier, you listened to Dr. Kimi, who is Executive Director of Youth Action International. Still ahead of the news is the foreign developments, but this development was at the pace. The Executive Director of Choice Institute of Vocational and Professional Studies, Samuel Bobo, says vocational studies is the surest way for young people to contribute to the growth and development of Liberia. Speaking at the launch of the institution Friday, Bobo said there is huge growth in the number of young people across Liberia. As such, building their capacities through vocational education is essential. Bobo noted that vocational education is key to job creation for many young people, especially those graduating from high schools.
We gather here today for one purpose. As you may be aware that youth constitute 65% of the Liberian population, which means they are highly influential in either driving or restarting our nation's development agenda. Eventually, our country endured 14 years of bloody carnage in which youth were predominantly used as frontliners, leaving an entire generation craftsley and ill-prepared, causing huge burden not only on national government, but on each and every one of us in this building. Interestingly, the numbers continue to grow by day, where many youths graduate from high school without vocational education, and the time for us all to act is now. In finding alternative ways of gainfully engaging them in that little but now. During our survey, when we established the Choice Institute of Vocational and Professional Studies, we came across so many youths from district number 15, 16, and 17 that that have interest in enrolling at our vocational institution, but because of some financial crisis, they are unable. The dream of this institution is to train young people in different trades to make them self-efficient and dependent. We want to train young people, we want to take young people from the street, we want to take people that have dropped from high school, that have no hope for life, to give them a new definition that they still have meaning in the society. We want to start using all our focus or all our energies on only discussing issues of politics in the Atari centers, on radio stations, on TV stations, on the social media, but at least we can give back to society, and we have been able to give the opportunity to impact knowledge in young people. Our targeted amount for this 9 months training in pastry, electricity, interior decoration, driving, plumbing, electricity, cosmetology, even planning interior decoration, air condition repair and refrigeration will cost $17,660 USD, but its equivalent in Liberian dollar is $2,650,000. We are calling you all today to support this cost so that we will help train our young people and they will be job ready at the end of their training so that we will have more entrepreneurs in our nation. As you are aware that politicians cannot make our nation to go to where it is without technicians. So we need technicians and we need people that will bring innovations to our society. So we have come this hour to call you all for your little support in whatsoever way that you can support this institution. We have a budget.
He's Samuel Bobo, Executive Director of Choice Institute of Vocational and Professional Studies, speaking Friday during the official launch of the institution. At this juncture, we now rejoin Willie Tukpa to read us the foreign developments.
The United Nations had a line over reported attack on the Libyan court where Saad Islam Gaddafi's lawyer was trying to lodge an appeal against his ban from next month's presidential election. The son of the late Libyan dictator was disqualified on Thursday by Libya's Elections Commission on the basis of a 2015 conviction for war crimes by a Tripoli court. Gaddafi's lawyer, Khalef al-Zadeh, said Ayman had raided a court in the southern city of Sebha and had stopped him entering to lodge his client's appeal. Sahad is under the control of a group allied to Gaddafi, Haftar, one of the main candidates. South Africa's health minister has condemned travel restrictions being imposed against the country after the discovery of a new coronavirus variant. Speaking with reporters on Friday evening, Joe Pallard says the introduction of travel restrictions by a number of countries against Southern African nations are completely against the norms and standards set out by the World Health Organization. He reassures South Africans that some of the reaction has been unjustified. Pallard adds that foreign scientists have not presented any evidence that the new variant has the capacity to evade protection offered by vaccines, though he accepts that early signs suggest it is more transmissible. He called on South Africans to come forward and receive the jab, which he says remain a major bulwark against infection and severe illness. That's it from my end.
Willie Tukpa in the foreign developments. He's taking us home on this weekend presentation of Freedom News Basket. It's been a 45-minute news presentation, a joint production of the News and Current Affairs Department here at Freedom Communications Incorporated. A recap of the major developments will follow tonight. Foreign Minister Mazwa Kemia receives an audience separate letters of credence from ambassadors, extraordinary and plenipotentiary designate from India, Germany, and Ireland. Hundreds of Liberian legal practitioners will decidedly elect new corps of officers to steer the affairs of the Liberia National Bar Association for 3 years. COM returns to Lofa County following a day of protest which resulted to country devils and traditional max dancer and several citizens blocking the border point connecting Bonk and Lofa counties in demand of the certification of embattled Lofa County Senator-elect Brani Samuka. Elsewhere, the United Nations has alarmed over reported attack on a Libyan court where Saif al-Islam Gaddafi's lawyer was trying to lodge an appeal against his ban from next month's presidential election. That's according to the BBC. Many thanks to our contributors, correspondents, reporters, editorial team, and all who helped make this package of Freedom News Basket. As sources, Willie Tukpa, Brothers the News Bulletin, Brothers the Foreign Developments, Gerald Morris, Factor The Passion of Lies Post. The invitation is yours to join us tomorrow morning at 6 for Freedom News Insight. Marilyn Griffiths, Other Control Coordinator to Sound System. Yeke Koita sat behind the camera. Keep following us online at www.freedomradioliberia.com for more news and information. Thanks as well for watching. On behalf of the entire team, I've been your presenter, Jeff Jefferson. Good evening from Morovia.